Hello, everybody. Welcome to Realtor Reputation. I'm April Lopez.
And I'm Shannon Howard-Bistorti.
And we have a exciting episode 6 for you today. I want to start off with our mom moment of the week because we have a special guest.
We have a very special guest today. You've heard me mention her many times in the Mom Moment segment, also known as one of my broke best friends. This is S3Ep6. Safi, can you come up?
Yay! Here she is.
Here she is, everybody. Hi, so can you say hi?
Hi.
So Safi often is our producer and critiques April and I on her computer. So tell us, like, why do you like watching our episodes?
I like to watch it at my school.
She watches it at school,
Like
often
at lunch with all of her friends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And English.
in English class. And why do you like to watch it?
My mom's in it.
My mom's in. What do you like to tell us? Like my hair looks funny. Oh my gosh, why'd you say that about me? What else?
Oh, wait, what are my critiques?
You did good.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
good.
Always does good. and she's always comparing me to April. Do you follow April on Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you tell Mom?
People posted all.
Yeah.
April posted a lot of stuff, and Mom, you have to do more posting.
That Shannon has to be more like April.
Yeah,
There we are.
that's the day in the life.
Too.
Your dad? Does your dad even post anything?
No,
Never.
Why me to do it for him?
Oh,
Yeah, she's kind of like our tech guru, her and Abby, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
And I have to say, Safi is a great promoter of us at school because anytime she listens and hears what somebody needs a
Question.
house, what do you say?
My mom.
Oh, I love it.
And you give out my cards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 times.
She
Oh
gives
my
out
gosh.
cards at school, like, oh, this person's moving. You call my
Our
mom.
biggest cheerleader.
Biggest cheerleader.
Yes, I love it.
So thank you for joining us today, and you could go sit back down. Thank you so much.
So Safi's just gonna chill. It's spring break. So is that your mom?
My
this-
mom
this
moment
week?
it is spring break, so we are
Are both the
working-
girls on spring break? right
No,
now?
so Abby
just
goes
one.
to a different school, so we had a track meet last night.
Yeah.
So we were there, which was fun. Safi met all of the Cardinal Newman, really cute seniors. That is one of her friend's boyfriends, and I got introduced. So Abby walks over, and Safi is sitting with this table of boys.
Oh my god, that's
That
hilarious.
Abby's on the team and doesn't even know them.
And she's like, "Hey,
She's all,
here
hey,
I
like,
am."
do you know my sister Abby? Like,
I love it.
and they're like, hey, Abby. And Abby and her friend Lou are like mortified.
Well, Safi is like this social.
Oh my gosh.
butterfly of,
But I
like-
just love that, like, she could just go up to, she like knows the whole track team and she's not even on the track team.
I love it. I love
And her
it.
sister, who is like, I don't know anybody's names.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my god, I love
What's your mom moment? What have you been up to besides working?
working. Yeah, I'm just trying to juggle the balance of work and life. My kids, Bea's in softball, Callan's doing track. So, and I like still want to go to the gym and like live and go on date night with my husband and do all of that. Well, I don't have time for any of that.
Yeah, I don't either.
So there's that.
Yeah.
My story this week was Bea had a game in Antioch.
Oh, that's
which,
fun.
mind you, Antioch is an hour and 45 minutes on a good day without traffic. Maybe an hour and 35 minutes, fine, whatever.
Right.
And Keith and I were like, we both had work to do. We're going to stay home. It's fine. Well, I pulled up to his work to just go say hi because I was in town. And I was like, hey, how's it going? And he's like, we really should go to softball at 2:00. And I was like dressed up for a meeting. So like, I looked great, fine, whatever, but I had like a skirt on and boots and all that. So I had 20 minutes to change. Well, my house is half an hour from his work. So I literally had to go to Target, buy a whole new wardrobe, and we drove to Antioch.
Because it's faster. I've done that before.
It's just faster. And he's like, okay. I was like, give me 20 minutes. Like,
You're like the amount it's going to take for gas, but then you were probably in your electric car.
wow, no, I actually didn't drive. He drove his truck. But
Sometimes it's like you're like the time,
well, my car wasn't at a full charge. So then I also have to think about this is like,
see, that's a
my
lot
car
of
wasn't-
thinking. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I couldn't do it. I'd be like on the side of the road.
yeah. But his boss had walked up. I saw him. He had pulled in while I was like sitting in the parking lot. I was like, hey, how's it going? He's like, what are you guys doing? I was like, we're just debating about going to a softball game. And he put it in perspective of you're never going to watch this game again. Which like just
like,
kills me and breaks my
yes.
heart because we were already struggling with that like mom guilt and dad guilt of like, we're not going to go to this game for whatever reason because we had work and stuff. But then it like, that's my mom guilt of like, it wasn't even guilt. Like we wanted to go. It just was so far. It's going to take a lot of out of our day. So it ended up working out. He drove. I had my laptop on my computer. I worked a little bit while we were driving, but he's right. We'll never get that time back with our
Well, and
kids.
it's hard, I think, because have you ever thought about this like in perspective? Because this happened yesterday. So we had when your school hosts like a track meet, for instance, it's not like just like a baseball game or a softball game.
Right.
It's like you need 35 volunteers.
Yeah.
And so they sent out this notice like, 2 days before to try to get like 35 volunteers or whatever it was. And parents were like, I work until 5,
Right.
or I can't get there from
And
my
they usually
job.
start at what, like 4 o'clock?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so like that was the perspective, is like not every parent is lucky and to have like a flexible
Totally.
job.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how families do this without either a parent who stays home,
Yeah.
like a full-time grandparent nanny or something.
It's a lot.
That can drive during the afternoon shift. Because we always joke that, I'm an Uber driver in the afternoon. Your kids have licenses now,
Yeah.
mine don't.
Yeah.
And they go to school and sports in different towns.
Yeah.
But I mean, just to even go to attend your child's game, if it's, I was in Napa the other day, I'm in midst of a listing presentation, then I had to stage a house. So I'm like, have my one set of clothes like you, and then I've got, my work clothes.
Yeah.
And I had to get from way north Santa Rosa all the way to Napa. Well, it took me an hour and 45 minutes
Oh,
to
I'm
get
sure.
to Napa
Yeah.
by 4 o'clock. And I was the scorekeeper. So I know what you mean. I had to text. Luckily, the game started a little bit late.
Yeah.
But the point being, like, that's why, like, they can't even get volunteers to do that.
I know.
And it's like, it's hard.
And even there's so many changes in the schedule last minute.
I know.
Like,
Or-
there was a rain out for a softball game, so we're going to make up that game the next day. And I'm just kind of like, so we had last week on Wednesday, we had a track meet at their school. A game was rescheduled for Bea. So we were going back and forth between, thank goodness that they were at the same school.
Well, that was
So
lucky.
we were at the field, we went to the track. We were at the field, we had to go back for discus. We had to go back for, like, we were back and forth. And then Callan's like, hey, can we go home? And I was like, no, we still have an hour left of the game over here.
Yeah, we're
like,
not going home,
I'm like,
son.
oh my goodness. But I mean, it's just
a
the
lot.
struggle in the, I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to do it all because
Well, you do, and you're going to miss out. And I, like Mark and I, we feel really bad. Like, we have to divide and conquer.
Oh, yeah.
Probably like you and Keith.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's just our struggle. I think it's a lot of parents'
Yeah.
struggles, because we both have 2 kids. I have
Right.
no families that have 3 and 4 kids, and they're all in these activities. And I don't know how they do that, because this is 3 different schools and, different ages. And that's a whole situation I'm glad I'm not part of.
well, that was like on Monday. I told Keith, I was like, I want to go to the gym. Like, I've only been able to make it to Pilates on Sunday morning, right?
Yeah.
1 class a week. And I'm like, I really want to go to the gym. Like,
Well, it's
I
just
need
nice
it.
to have some like time to like de-stress and you know, decompress.
Well, and I was able to go on Monday, but then I take a class at 7 o'clock and then I'm not home until 8 something. And like, hi, okay, bedtime now. Like,
well, that's the hard
we're just
part.
trying to figure it all out right now. But
It's a lot. And I think like I feel like it's a little more stressful right now because spring is our busy season, as we say.
Right.
And right now, like, it is on fire, which brings us into the next segment of
Swiftie standouts of the week.
oh my God, it is.
What's happening in real estate.
I don't even know. I mean, it's like, I feel like there's some more coming soon.
Yes.
Unfortunately, they're not all that great for my buyers because their prices are all over the map.
Yeah.
Some are getting multiple offers. Some are sitting. Some are way overpriced. I mean, it's kind of like a gamut of.
Well, we have a good influx of inventory right now, which is great.
Yes.
Yeah. Buyers have options. I think that's it's wonderful. And I actually am finding, like, myself personally, I have 2 off market. My clients don't even want to go on market. They would
Really?
prefer to sell off market, which is actually, well, it's because it's situational, right?
But it's a great situation.
Absolutely. But I don't know. I think buyers are hesitant right now with the whole stock market.
Well,
like,
I think the tariff tax has really thrown, people for a loop. I mean, I know we talked about it a long time ago with like Keith being in, building and construction and that kind of stuff. And like, even, for retail and shopping, for staging, groceries. I was at Petaluma Market the other day. A dozen eggs was $14.99
What?
for organic.
Well, for one, why are you shopping at Petaluma Market?
Because I go there on Sundays to get, I either go to Oliver's or
I'm
Petaluma
kidding,
Market
I'm
to get
kidding.
my lunch meat because I'm weird about.
Oh, no, I agree.
But I was just looking to, I was like, $14.99. But like even like when I went shopping because I needed some staging things because I've been so busy with staging, I can't even focus on real estate really, and I'm trying to juggle both. And I'm out. My warehouse is like cleaned out almost. Like I couldn't walk in it a couple weeks ago, and I've had to turn down like 4 jobs. People are calling me because it's spring market, and that's how I think we talked about it before. I judge on like based on how many calls, not just our office or we're doing, but like what the whole county is doing, right? And it's agents all over. I mean, they're wanting me in Napa, Sonoma. I had somebody ask me for like Ukiah. I'm like, no, I don't go that far. But Sebastopol, all over the place. But it is insane. So I know there's going to be like I feel like everybody's trying to get it on like the homes on the market at the end of April, beginning of May, like kind of before that.
You mean right when I go on vacation?
Yeah, that. Yeah, me too. I have a wedding to go to, and I'm like, I cannot destage any of your houses between this time.
I know.
And I have clients, like a couple listings coming on, and I'm like, I cannot go on the market that weekend.
Yep. And it's funny because I have, not to be off topic, but I have a vacation for my birthday. I tend to go somewhere for my birthday weekend. I think it's just a little quick getaway. My husband and I always try to do something. And it's just a long weekend. We leave like Thursday morning. We come home on Sunday night. And everybody, I prep my clients and be like, hey, I'm taking this time. But it feels like everything comes to a head right at that moment.
Oh, of course. And everything that you've been putting off, like, like, oh, I just need to do that little thing. Then all of a sudden you have 20 little things that need to get done.
Although I had a conversation with my husband, I was like, we're not working. And he's like, wait, what do you mean? And I was like, because if on a Thursday, Friday, my husband works, he's works full time. He gets calls and he has to filter through them and he'll take them. And normally when we're on vacation, it's fine. Like, I don't mind. Take the call. It's only going to take 5 minutes, right? But I was like, we're not working at all. And he's like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, I know you're going to work. And I was like, no, I'm going to like, my response to my clients will be like, hey, can this wait till Monday? Of course, if something's urgent, like,
or you can reach out to one of us.
Well, that's exactly like I've got, you guys where I can fall back on you if something happens, but I'm like, it's 2 business days and 2 weekend days. I'm like, I just don't, my phone,
kind of like
I don't want to be on it.
Text you on Thanksgiving or Christmas.
I definitely have had conversations on holidays.
And I'm like, why do you need to know about this property that's been on the market for 60 days today?
Yeah.
Like, why is this a priority?
I mean, if I'm writing an offer, that's a different thing, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you know what I mean.
But nobody's going to be reviewing an offer on Thanksgiving night. I'll say that.
Well, maybe, but it's just funny. It's like,
yeah, if you're smart, you would.
Yeah.
I love writing offers on holidays.
Well, that's when nobody's looking.
I know, that's exactly right.
But, it's kind of one of those things. But so I don't know. I think the market is crazy. I think the stock market is crazy. I think
so we saw
tariffs are crazy. And I think drop. So, and it was so funny. My husband was at broker tour the other day and he was like texting me like minute by minute updates. Like I get these random texts and it's like, now the market is 6 3/8 with, a half a point. Now it's back up to 6.9% with the point. Now it's like within an hour, like the interest rates went like this. And I don't know if I was explaining this to a client yesterday. Like, I don't think people really understand how interest rates work. I know like we've been talking about it, but they don't just like every day, there's not a new one. Like it can change hour by hour.
Yeah.
Because it really does. Like the interest rates,
and just because the stock market crashed also doesn't mean that the mortgage rates are, I mean, they may fluctuate and change, but it doesn't mean that everything's just going to come to a crash and we're going to be back to at 2% mortgages.
I know.
That's not happening. And people have to understand that, for one, you have to make sure that you're communicating with a lender who knows and understands and does all of that. But I think people are weary of getting into anything right now, but it could be a good thing. Mortgage rates can come down.
Yes.
Absolutely. We wanted, although we did see them come down and then they went back up. So
within
I didn't check
day,
today to see
hours.
Yeah. So,
but I think like a good thing for people to know is this is like where we try to educate,
right?
And say like if you are on that fence, and we know there's a lot of people sitting on that fence and waiting to take that jump. you need to be talking to your lender now.
Yeah.
Because things can change within a day, an hour, and you can't just call and they're gonna be like, oh, hi, April, I'm gonna buy a house. Can you lock in my rate till I find a house?
Yeah.
Like you have to have a contract.
Yeah.
You have to have an accepted offer,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So time is of the essence, but if you have to still turn in all your paperwork and you haven't gone through the pre-approval process in a year or 6
Right.
months, like things have changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we need to do that.
No.
I think it's important, 'cause-
Yeah.
And then the other thing, like, I don't know if people know this, but in most jobs, I just had this happen where people are pregnant and they're, buying a house.
Yeah.
And something like I hadn't had in a while. And we were really lucky and we found the house. She was 9 months pregnant. Found the house so she can go nest and have her baby, closed escrow super fast. But the one thing to know about that is if you're pregnant and you're, have a job that you get X amount of paycheck, when you go on that maternity leave in most jobs, you are not going to get your full pay, which may adjust what you're qualified for. And a lot of realtors don't know that. And a lot of lenders, like if you don't tell them, hey, I saw you 6 months ago, but now I'm ready to pop.
Yeah.
They need to factor that in because what you think you might qualify for price wise, you might not.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the good thing.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People just think like, oh, I'm going to, go on disability or I'm going to go on family leave. Well, that affects your pay stubs.
Yeah,
Your
absolutely it does.
qualifications. So I thought that was.
And if you're anything like me, when I had my kids, I worked full time and then I went on maternity leave and I never went back.
and that's the thing. And so
My husband's like, wait, what are you doing? You're
I
quitting your
have
job.
so many clients and friends like that, especially like if they're, if they worked with one and now they're having two, the cost of daycare is astronomical.
Oh, yeah.
So it's why would you go back? But if you're thinking of buying a house to move up and now you don't have that second income,
What?
I want to call mom and dad.
Yeah.
Maybe they have to co-sign or something.
Well,
Or whatever.
I wish.
No,
Yeah.
but if you can.
Yeah, no, totally.
But
I mean,
you're
I
not
had my
gonna
kids.
Qualified.
When did I have my kids? 2008. I don't even know when I had my kids. 2008 and 2009.
Yeah.
They were back to back, dude. Childcare was even expensive then. I can't even imagine right now.
Oh
But
my gosh, I had somebody tell me they looked and it's between $1,200 and $1,800 per child
what?
a month.
That's
If they go full time.
That's insane.
Right?
Well, point of the story. My kids are only 13 months apart, and I'm like,
So if
no,
you had two,
I had to stay home.
It would be
during
more
that
than
time.
your mortgage would have been.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So good things.
Good things. So I want to talk about in our We Can't Make This Up
Oh yes, this is a great
segment.
one.
So Shannon and I not on TikTok. I watch Instagram reels, and
That's what we do,
that's how we stay current.
at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night when we were trying to decompress.
send them-
and
send
then
them
we
back.
just send them back and forth because I know April's doing the same thing and vice versa. That's my only time where I finally sit down before I fall asleep with my phone or my laptop.
Totally. So Shannon sent me this story or whatever of this woman in Ohio that she's an agent. She worked for a brokerage.
Century 21.
Century 21. And I mean, no offense to the brokerage, but anyway, she worked for a brokerage in Ohio. And she is trying to play catch up in I don't know.
She's trying to redeem herself.
She's trying to
clear
redeem-
her reputation.
Thank you. Because
realtor reputation is a thing.
This is to the point of what we do, right? So she went into a restaurant and he was just she went out for dinner one night with her husband. And she, I guess, was unhappy with the service that this restaurant provided. So she wrote on her receipt for, under the tip amount, she wrote 0. And she also said, "You suck. I hope Trump deports you," on the receipt of the restaurant.
The receipt.
So
That goes back to the server.
went back to the server and they put her on blast. And they had a social media presence and they
It just
obviously
made the news, Instagram, TikTok, it is everywhere.
So I also want to say that, it's your credit card receipt and your name is on it.
Your name is on it. So they have this lady's name. We will not mention it here, but they have it and it has been blasted. That lady needs a...
So they blasted her name and a copy of the receipt and
Her brokerage.
It went viral and she is now trying to redeem herself and her brokerage fired her. which, okay, wonderful. And now she's trying to do damage control and say that her credit card was
stolen.
Well, they were like, we have footage, and not to mention, we know who you are. The server served you.
Do people not know there are video cameras everywhere? Like, Big Brother is watching you. There are video cameras now on, like,
Totally.
There's, like, AI on, like, the, street lamps and everything. I mean, every restaurant or whatever, probably for safety or security, has, like, cameras. Like, I tell my kids all the time, like, there's these kids all the time that are, like, in Target, like, causing a havoc, like, the shopping carts. I'm like, they should just grab those kids, put them in a room, and show their parents the video.
Seriously.
Because you were on camera.
But I just want to be like, for one, that was incredibly rude. For one, I would never, even if my server...
inappropriate.
Even if I had, I'll say, I'm a 20% tipper. It doesn't matter if I have good service or bad
Have you ever had a
service.
server?
Was I a server?
No. So I worked in restaurants and
I
hotels.
wasn't.
So when you work in that industry, you really appreciate good service. And even if you do get bad service, like you say, you still give a tip.
I mean, they're still doing something for you. But I mean, I don't know. Not everybody is like me. Fine, whatever. Like my mom, for instance, when we go to a restaurant, like she'll just straight complain. I'm just not a complainer. I just like people are just trying to do what they need to do to get by in this world.
Been with the people that like complain?
Oh my God.
And then they try to get like,
and I'm just like
so embarrassing. We have people that we know. We never had went out to dinner with them because we've heard like other people that went out to dinner with them. And like they would just like cause a scene like they were God's gift.
Yes.
And then they'd be like, we want it all comped. Like, we're not paying for this. Like, after they ate, $500 worth of food. And I had to deal with that as a server at a restaurant. And I did a very high-end place. And it is mortifying what people will try to do. And I would be so embarrassed if, like, I went out to dinner with you and you acted that way.
Yeah.
I would be, like, hiding under the table and, like, giving my credit card and be like, can you just get it?
Yeah, no.
Just don't act like that.
But you also... I don't know. I just lead my life with, I try to lead my life with kindness and just being
dignity
and genuine with people. And I know people just are having hard days sometimes. Maybe this server did have one. Needless to say, she had no right to say you suck.
And you should be deported.
I mean, it was incredibly...
It was like a double whammy.
It was. So, needless to say, her reputation is now cut out. I don't think she will probably, will you
I think
ever?
she needs to move and change her name.
Well, even if you move, like, I don't know. I think,
What brokerage is going to pick her up?
yeah. I mean, you're known now in this community for being that woman.
That's so embarrassing.
But anyway, so to the point of this, like, our reputation is huge, and you almost are seen, we have public profiles, and the way that we act and we respond, I mean, even transaction to transaction, I have communications on a regular basis. And some agents, if, I don't know, maybe there's a hiccup in escrow or something like that, some agents can come full force at you. And I'm just like, hey, I'm just trying to get this to the end, to the solution. Where's the solution? But some people take it very, very personally in a transaction. That's how agents respond.
And aggressive.
And you then will be known as that person.
100%.
Because people talk. If I have a bad experience, I'm going to call up Shannon as my confidant and be like, can you believe what just happened?
No, and I think like the other part of that is you can't take back bad communication, right?
Totally.
And bad behavior.
Yes.
And I had this very early in my career, and it with both men and women, but a lot of times it was like the older men who treated me really bad because I was a younger woman in real estate in my early 20s, and they would like come at you like, and if they didn't get their way, or if you sent over something to represent your client, like a request for repair,
right?
And I always try to do it, so it's not ridiculous.
Right.
I train my clients like, let's deal with health and safety, let's deal with the big ticket items, let's not talk about the locking door and like little petty stuff, right? Petty stuff. If you ask for anything, like I would just have them call up and just scream at me. And I learned that my best response was if you keep your voice low.
Yeah.
And I was just saying, okay, thank you, Jim, or whoever it may be. But when you would like to talk to me like a grown up,
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk to you, but I will not be screamed at. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I've had like coming from a 4-year-old woman, they're kind of like, what?
Yeah.
And it's like, would you talk to and I said to one man, would you talk to your daughter this way?
That's
And
right.
He was like, and I'm like, we're a team. And I think sometimes what happens in these transactions is, yes, we have a fiduciary responsibility to our clients, but nobody wants the agent's egos to blow up the house that somebody wants or that the seller wants to sell. You have to like we talk about like desensitize or depersonalize or make it we don't want our clients to get emotional, so we have to do that. That's why they have us, right? So if you're having a little petty fight with the agent over something,
nothing's going to be resolved.
But your reputation, and I will tell you, if there is somebody, and there are people who have, as I call it, like tricks up their sleeve, like you've been around long enough, you're like, oh, they come in high and then they're going to nickel and dime you, or they're going to do this and this. Their cards, like they don't have a lot of moves on the chessboard, right? And if you have somebody that's like wonderful to work with and their offers are the same and you could counter them and they're almost the same, you're going to say like, I'm going to choose this person because this person's going to probably pull this with you later. And that's also part of the reputation, right?
Absolutely.
Because multiple offer situations are a big thing in our community and industry. And it's not that we don't get to choose for our client, but they often come to us and say, what do you think?
Right.
And I would say
I go over all the facts.
And a lot of times people will ask me, do you know the other agent on the other side?
Yeah.
Because that's important to a lot of people to know, one, how they interact, but two, like, are they reputable? Do they know how to counsel their client?
Right.
Because if you have somebody who's absent or, kind of like this lady, like off the rocker.
Yeah.
Are they going to blow it up for the transaction?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I mean,
that's exactly it.
Or when third parties get involved. Like, have you ever had like somebody call that's not part of the transaction?
You know what happens all the time.
I love when dad calls. It's always so fun.
Right.
Like, they're like, who is this?
Yeah, I'm like, hello. No, I was actually to the point. I was going to say I had a transaction, what was it, last year, and I was dealing with a builder. And the builder also has a brokerage. This was probably one of
Is he a lender too?
No, he's not. But it was one of the most detailed. I had everything in writing. Like
she had down to like how many nails had to be per board.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm very detail oriented and I know construction very well, but you should have seen this. I mean, even my
he was shaking in his boots.
Even my broker, my manager was like, wow, like this is an extreme detail. And I was like, it had to. But he would call me. And now I'm like, oh, I already know. If a client, I'll just very much advise my clients, if you want to get into a transaction with this person, this is what you're going to get into.
Yes.
But he would call me screaming at me. Screaming.
And this is to put on
over like $500. Mind you, this is
like to put on like the fixtures that like their client already picked and paid for themselves. Like, I mean, it was like already written out.
Everything was written out in the contract. I mean, everything was written out in that contract. And then if we had to come back with something and be like, no, this isn't fair. This is like, but it was hard because he was the contractor, but also.
So that's the hard part is it's kind of like when you're an agent, we've all like sold our own homes.
Yeah.
But it's sometimes hard to like put your realtor hat on and then put your contractor hat on because he was just too emotionally invested.
Oh, absolutely. And he did have an agent who represents him, but I mean, when he wasn't happy with what she was doing, he would call me and just scream at me. And I would have those same conversations and just be like, sorry, I'm not having this conversation with you. Right. And I would, when you want to call me back or have somebody who is civil and can have that, I'm just like
respectable to say. Yes, but we just, we live the dream.
That's right. Everybody, every time I get a phone call, what are you up to? Living the dream.
That's my line. Living the dream. It's been my line for years.
Yes. But that's it for this episode. The episode
season is ready. So if you need to get pre-qualified, go out now because who knows by the time we meet next what's going to happen.
We do want to still do a little get together. That's in the works. We're going to try to get some dates together. So if you're local here,
look right on. It's called Bella in Petaluma. So we're going to do a sip and shop and a fun little like mom's night out. So we will be posting that on our social. So like us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube. We're on Spotify.
Yes. I need to get better about all of the other things.
We're working on our SEO, but please follow us and then we will get the invites out and we will have like an evite going out too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. All right, everybody.
Have a great day.